First of all, one of the reasons or importance of knowing God's choice for you is so that you can both serve God wholeheartedly. The choice of God for you is someone that knows God, meaning God cannot give you someone that doesn't know Him. When you know God, you worship Him and bring glory to Him because it is for the reason that He created you in the beginning. Worshiping God exceeds singing of songs and lifting of hands. Worship has to do with everything that concerns your living. You must know God's choice so that you both can worship God together, since you both believe in Him. Otherwise, you might end up making a mistake when you choose for yourself. You might fall victim to a pretender and hypocrite that is not a sincere or genuine believer. But if you know the choice of God for your life, you will be sure that you are not a victim of anything. This is because God knows more than you. Unlike you that are limited as a man, God sees the inward or heart of man. He alone knows the end from the beginning. He knows who you can be with, and your love and fear for Him will not diminish or die. He knows who is best for you, because He is the creator of all. Therefore, it is important to know God's choice, because God's choice is the best. Samson was a great man, and he was a threat to the enemies of God's people, the Israelites, who have been tormented for years. God appeared to his parents and announced his arrival, and he single-handedly destroyed a lot of the Philistines. But he failed woefully in his choice of a spouse. This singular mistake brought an end to his ministry, and consequently an end to his life as well. Maybe if he had listened to his parents and taken out time to know the choice of God for him, he would have lived longer to do more exploit, and maybe he would have had a child, if not children, that would have carried his legacy on. It is important to know the choice of God is searching for a spouse because of the assignment that God has assigned to you. Every man is born with an assignment on earth. No one is born to be idle or useless. God has invested so much in every man that He sent to the earth, and as such, He expects you to fulfill that purpose for which He created you. In fulfilling the assignment, God has further prepared for you a helpmeet to assist in fulfilling your assignments. Since He created you, He knows exactly what He has put on the inside of you. Therefore, Him alone knows the ideal helpmeet that is required to help you in your assignment. Because of that, you have to trust Him alone to help you choose the particular person He has assigned for you. Otherwise, you will fail to try to find the person all by yourself. Likewise, as a woman, the man is the head of the woman, and women have been instructed according to the Word of God to be submissive to their husband. You have to trust God alone to help you know the right head to which you should submit, and not just any head. You have to allow God to help you identify the man to which you were made to help being helpmeet. Anything contrary to that, you will end up living a frustrated and unfulfilling life. God chose a spouse for Prophet Hosea because of the assignment that God gave him. Just to demonstrate and pass a message across to the Israelites, God instructed the prophet to marry a prostitute by the name of Gomer. Her unfaithfulness was to signify to the Israelites how they have abandoned the Lord their God at that time and committed adultery with other gods or idols. When two people come together and their purpose and assignments are not well defined, then there is division already in such home, and a home divided against itself cannot stand. Therefore, it is safe to first know your assignment and then know God's choice in the selection or making the decision of a spouse. This saves you from a lot of trouble that would have been avoided. You have to know the choice of God is searching for a spouse, not just for the sake of the peace and joy of your life alone, which is quite very important too, but also for the destinies of the children that will come into that union. If you are left alone to make that decision, you might choose a handsome man or a beautiful woman just because you want your children to look very fine. But God is saying that is not all that there is. You can have a very handsome man who is not responsible but rather a flirt. You can also have a beautiful lady with nothing of value in her head. More than just the beautiful face and handsome look, it takes discipline, commitment, hard work, sound character, and responsibility to raise godly seeds. The parents of Samson did their best to raise Samson in the way of God. They obeyed the instructions given to them before the birth of the child and after the birth of the child. He was raised a general, as said by the angel that appeared to them, and he lived to fulfill the purpose and assignment that he was born to do. You owe your children being the best father or the best mother, as the case may be. You cannot know the best because of the limitations of man. But when you take your time to know the choice of God, it is not a waste of time, but rather an investment. It is the best gift you can give to your children. A father that is a man after God's heart, and a mother that yearns after God and the things of God. God knows exactly who has that capacity, and that is why you have to know His choice for you. It is believed that change is constant. The life of a man is characterized by moments and seasons. Knowing the choice of God is searching for a spouse in your life is very important, as it matters a great deal what happens at different moments and seasons of your life. You have the whole of your life to live with your spouse when you eventually marry, except death do you part. Therefore, directly and indirectly, the person does not just have a say in your life, but influences, controls all your actions and all that concerns you, including your relationship with God and the things of God. Either you continue to love God the more or less. Hence, the choice of such a person cannot be left to guesswork, but rather convictions that indeed you are on the right course. The person you choose as a spouse can either make you or mar you. The person influences and makes your decisions. Knowing the choice of God is knowing the person that has the same passion and zeal for God like you. Who will not turn your back against God? Who will not cause you to compromise when the storms and challenges of life? Life, as it has been said, is not a bed of roses. There are challenging moments and trial seasons that come in life. Those moments come and go, but your attitude during those moments affect a great deal how you spend those periods. If it is well spent, then be sure that you are coming out of it stronger. And if your attitude during those periods is uncalled for, the reverse is the case. In essence, nothing should make you compromise your faith, principles, and the convictions on which you live. Life is governed by these principles, especially at those darkest moments. And this to a large degree depends on the choice of your spouse. That is, why you have to know the choice of God is searching for your spouse. When the choice of God becomes your choice too, then you are said to be on the right track. Job is a perfect example of this. Job was known as the wealthiest man in the East, and not just that God attested to it, that indeed Job feared him. Satan was granted permission to test him, and Job lost everything he had, and was also conflicted with skin infections. It was so bad that his spouse concluded and told him that he should curse God and die. It was obvious that she was tired and frustrated about everything. Thank God that Job didn't compromise his faith. The test and trial was only a phase. It passed, and more so, Job passed too. He came out strong. God blessed the latter life of Job, then the beginning. Children and livestock were doubled for him. Not everyone would have been able to pass those darkest moments with such advice from the only person that should have been strong or been a source of strength to you. Hence, the need to choose wisely. The importance of knowing the choice of God for a spouse cannot be overemphasized, knowing that marriage is first spiritual before physical. A spouse is not just any random person of the opposite sex. A spouse is someone that you two have become one within the spirit and one soul. Everything about you, spiritual, physical, emotional, financial, etc., are tied to the person. Therefore, the choice of such a person should not be handled with levity.